Hello everyone, very good morning, very good evening from wherever you are logging in, clicking on this video. We have with us again Miss Dilmi Mahadurage, a career counselor, spiritual counselor, who is now contacted by many who are finding it difficult to overcome their issues, be it anxiety, stress, worries, anger. The whole world is plagued, so to say, with these inner issues, inside, what is happening inside. So people are unhappy. Most of the time, people are unhappy. So they seek various ways in which, through which they can overcome this unhappiness. Some, they opt to choose from doing drugs to choosing spirituality. So this is where a personality like Dilmi Mahadurage comes in, and she tells you exactly how to find happiness. So that is our topic today, how to find happiness. Just 1 minute description on happiness. It means different things to different people. When you say happiness, what is happiness? But it boils down to, one way or another, if you look at it carefully, not in terms of spirituality, but if you look at it very carefully, it's something which is underneath, or what we call the bottom line. So probably, I'm sure Dilmi will explain to us. Finally, this happiness that we are referring to cannot be million things. It may be lying in some center point. Maybe we are interpreting it in different ways. Dilmi, I would like you to give a start for our discussion, then it will be followed by questions.
Yes. So, doctor, when it comes to finding happiness, like people are doing different things in order to find happiness. Like, in fact, I was someone who was like looking for happiness. The reason was most of my life, I was like in my youth, even though I had things which are quite fairly like a content life supposed to have, yet like I felt this discontent and discontentment all the time, this unhappiness. And so I also did many things, like, for example, traveling around, like going to other countries and trying different dishes, and like finding a relationship, and or doing something very, very much adventurous, like bungee jumping or like skydiving or something like that. So, or even like, so many things. But at the same time, like I realized when I was doing different type of things in my life to find happiness, but nothing was lasting. Everything was like fleeting away. Whereas one thing just stayed with me, which was that was the first time I deeply felt content and complete, and that's where you find your true nature. And that is what I can call the lasting happiness. Yes, there's ways to find happiness in more temporary ways, but if you're looking for something lasting, which would stay with you, and that there will be finding who you are in the deepest core, in your highest potential. Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, what you implied was that, okay, you are looking for something, and then you're looking for happiness, over a particular act or an event, something. And once it is fulfilled, another arises. And then you go after that. Now, is that the way the people are unhappy? Because every time a particular ambition or a desire gets fulfilled, something else arises. Is that the way it happens?
Yeah, normally generally when we see like that is how most of the people are like finding happiness, like for like they like let's say they go on a tour, like let's say they go on a tour to Japan, and then the next thing arises, okay, I need to buy a car, and then I need to buy a house, and likewise it just goes on. And then the reason for it, like the fact why it's happening, is because we are not aware about our mind, So I always tell this to my clients that mind is like a bottomless begging bowl. Let's say when you are putting something into your begging bowl, like let's say it's bottomless begging bowl, which is there's no bottom, and you put like an apple into it, and then the apple just goes right out. And this is how the mind works, that because we are unaware about the nature of our mind, we just keep on doing it again and again and again and again, thinking that this will fills it up. But this mind is such that whatever you put in, it just asks the next thing, ask for the next thing, because it is just like I always say. I mean, what I did with my spiritual journey was watching my mind, understanding the nature of the mind. For example, like once you understand the nature of something, you wouldn't try to fight with it. You would try to find how to be with it, align with it. Like let's say you have a rain, like you have rain, like it's a like this rain, and then you wouldn't try to go and stop the rain, but rather because you understand it, that's how the universe works. That's how the life works. Like you wouldn't go and try to stop the rain, but rather you take an umbrella and then you go with it. Because you understand this is how the nature works. And just like that, you got to understand how your mind works. What is the nature of this mind? So whatever we like, most of the people, that's what they are hooked with. And truly what happens is, like when they acquire something, like let's say they buy a car, like for that particular moment that they were like seeking, and then suddenly that happens, and that seeking disappears. And that's why there's this contentment, and but then again, back again, that starts arising again for the next thing, and then you're again on a run. For that fleeting moment, that seeking disappears, and at that particular moment that you feel that happiness or the contentment. Yeah.
Okay, now how to find happiness is what we are talking about. And you said you must first look at the way the mind operates, and you watch your mind and try to understand how the mind works. Now, this is very useful for our audience. But my question is, shouldn't there be some understanding for the person, like this is suffering, I got to do something. Now, say anyone who comes to you for counseling must come to you with the understanding, look, I have a problem, I am suffering, I'm going through some kind, the person might explain whether it's worrying or anxiety or suicidal or depression or anything, but the person must first understand I am suffering, I have suffering. Now, which may not be the case with everyone. Not all the people in the world will seek counselors for suffering. That means some people feel that they are happy, while another set of people feel they are unhappy and therefore they need to do something. Now, what about the people who think that they are happy? You mean that suffering doesn't happen to them?
Well, to be very honest, Dr. Vipula, what I see is, yes, there's a set of people who just live that way as there's no suffering and like they continue to live in their routine life. But then again, I can see a whole big part of themselves are just repressed. You know, they are functioning well. For them to function well, they just all this emotional part, they just put under the rug and they start operating as if nothing is happening. You know, like just like robots. Like for example, when I went to Singapore, something I realized, like, I mean, there's no offense, like I'm just sharing what I just observed when I went to Singapore. That's a very like developed country, of course. At the same time, I saw that most of the people, their spirit has left. You know, they are more like a more kind of a robotic lifestyle they have incorporated, but like they are doing so much to the country, but at the same time, their soul has not there, like there's no aliveness. It's just not there. Yes, they are operating, but at the same time, there's a huge part which they are denying. They are not seeing how much they are repressing, you know. They must be working so hard, but at the same time, they never be with themselves. They never sit with themselves. You know, they constantly, in a way, they're escaping from themselves. You know, if they truly sit with themselves, then everything will start coming to the surface. But they are managing it in a way they never got to sit with it. Otherwise, all these things could come up. You know, that is the truth. That is the reality. I mean, I've seen these people who are like, yes, but at the same time, I can see some of the people, they're like, their spirit, like their soul is not there. You know, they're functioning well, but their soul is not there. One example, let me tell you from one of my client experience. One time I just having a session with the one client, and then this girl came in, and then we were having the session, and then I was talking to her, and then she started sharing like one really sad story. And when she's sharing this story, Dr. Vipula, and one thing was very interesting, I started having tears. I'm I'm having tears, but she's talking normally. Okay, and then I'm like, okay, like you know, and then I was like, okay, fine. And then I said, like, how do you feel? Oh yeah, I don't feel, I mean, I'm fine. Like, yes, that's sad, but it's all right. Like, it's just, you know, I don't even have tears to cry for this. I was like, really? Okay. And then I said, okay, Nick, like I listened to her story, and then I said, okay, you can come for the next session. And she said, like, she's fine. Like, there's nothing about this whole story. And I immediately recognized, Dr. Vipula, the fact that I was getting tears was her
Yeah.
pain. I was so sensitive that I can feel her pain. Even though she's sitting with her pain, she still cannot feel it. Okay. And then the next session she came up. And then I was like, I guided her into an exercise, and I was just intuitively coaching people. And then the entire, it extended for 2 hours. The entire 1 hour, she cried screamingly, you know. And then I was like, I mean, I like, even though she said, oh yeah, I'm fine, there's no tears for me. The whole 2 hours, I had to extend it because she was not done with it. And the whole 2 hours, she was crying in an unbelievable way. And then that is why, like, do you see how people are insensitive to their pain, to their sad? It's just all repressed, and they are functioning well in the world, but but they just put everything under the rug.
Yeah, because it's all suppressed inside, and there wasn't any opportunity to let all that thing out, And of course, the same thing I would probably use an example in a different way, like some of these developed countries, rush world, people are busy and they have no time, and I used to tell those days, not anymore, but those days I used to say they smile only when they see money, otherwise that smile is never there. So I'm not relating it to our discussion directly, but that's how this the world, which is kind of, it has turned out to be today, how they are kind of suppressing the basic human nature. Yeah, you're right. Now, coming back to this, how to find now, one of the things you said, you start observing or witnessing uh, how the mind operates. And how do you do that? Is it constantly, or is it a compulsory thing, or from the time you get up, or how does it work? Or is it possible to do that?
Yeah, doctor, to be honest, like I'll tell you very directly, if you do this one thing, that's it, like, because I normally tell things very directly, like if you don't take your mind so serious, that's it. That's it. If you don't believe your mind, you are in happiness. Like if you have noticed that each time you are in such a happiness, your mind will come and start telling something about, oh, like, what about this thing? It try to immediately take out that happiness. I have observed this in my mind,
Absolutely,
in
absolutely.
my
I
life.
agree.
Like you are just having such a fun time, and like in the background, the mind start coming and tell, oh, like this thing,
Yeah, yeah.
and then all that. And at the same time, we have limiting beliefs as well. Like if you are so happy, then something would you would like cry soon and all that. Like these things are there too. So that's one of the things, like that I've seen. And so where we were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, because you said
Yeah.
if you know how the mind works and how the mind
Yeah.
tells you, even when you are happy, the mind will come and say, hey, what about that? What about this? What about that? I'll
Yeah.
give you one example. This happens in my office.
Exactly.
I found, like I was heading this institution, and then there were so many young youth, they are just
Yeah.
out of universities, they are working with it, and we have enormous problems, and even after going home, you can't sleep because, yeah. And then when you have, some of these happy occasions, a weekend or something, I have seen these youth, they don't give a damn, I mean, the problem in the office is a problem which they can't resolve during the weekend anyway, and they are happy, while we, being the bosses, we are still, how can these people, go on a trip and they are enjoying this and this, and the next day when you come to office, you have this huge problem to resolve.
Yeah.
I'm showing you a very mundane thing,
Yeah.
because it's a mind again, because I mean, your problem will be solved eventually, one way or another.
Yeah. Yes. And then another thing is, Dr. Vipula, why the mind just takes it down if you are in a happy state, because the mind is wired for survival. Mind is specialized in survival. It's constantly looking at threats and just trying to make it like you will be survived. And that's the function of your mind. And if you take this mind, I mean, mind has a function, but if you take this mind so seriously, like if you can take it lightly, not believe everything, you'll be fine. But you need to see what is the function of the mind is. It just makes sure the survival is being taken care of. So it constantly shows you the threats and the worst case scenarios and all that. If you take
Yeah.
serious this mind, you would be like, how can you ever be happy? Because I was someone who took my mind so seriously. Let me tell you, Dr. Vipula, I believe this is my mind, this is me, because me and the mind was so much attached. And I took my mind so seriously. Whatever it says, I was like a slave, I was doing it. But now I see the mind, it says stuff. I just watch, I don't do it. You know, and that's the difference. I just watch it, or I do the opposite. You know,
Or give an example for the benefit of our audience.
yeah, like let's say that, okay, for example, like your mind would like, it just always like, okay, for example, like when I went to like one time New Zealand, and then there's some area called Taupo, and there they had the highest bungee jump, by the way. And then like I just went right up, like I just now wore everything and like all that. And then I said I won't even touch the water, like because then you can go under it. It was a river, by the way. It's a beautiful river. Exact place I wanted to do the bungee jump. And then I went right in front, and then my mind says, "Do not do this. If you love yourself, please just go back. Yes, you paid the money. It's all right. That's fine. And forget about the money. Just do not do this." And I jumped.
And nothing happened.
I was completely fine.
Isn't that what you call free fall? Free fall, you just
Exactly. It was just free fall. And then I was just, and I felt liberated, because then finally your mind shuts down. It's like it gave up, because this girl doesn't listen to this anymore.
But then don't you need your mind for your basics, when you get up in the morning, you go to your this thing, you brush your teeth and you organize yourself and then have your breakfast. Isn't that the work of the mind?
Yes, Dr. Vipul, I'm telling you, this month, that's why I said the mind has a function. But when we take the mind and make it the whole world is the mind, then the problem, then there's the problem starts. Yes, it has a function. When you go to work, do not try to meditate. Just go and do your work. Use your mind, for God's sake. So that's how it works. It has a function. Of course, it has a function. That is where the whole memory is there. That this
So,
definitely has a function. Yeah.
so you are saying overstepping or believing in mind in toto is where the people make mistake. You believe your
Exactly.
mind in
You
toto.
believe your mind so much. You totally believe in it very much. It's like you are a slave to mind. Your mind says, do this, you do it. Eat that, you eat it. Just like you have been puppeted by your mind. You are the slave to your mind. You are the master of it. Now the roles has been the roles are just switched. That's the problem here. The mind has become the master, whereas you're supposed to be the master. That's where the whole problem is. That's where because you are being puppeted. Okay, now do this, do that, and like nicely, your mind is just slaving. It's like a slave. You're just a slave to the mind. Whatever it says, you're like, yes, God, I will do it, and then you do it.
Yeah, basically you do what your mind tells you to do, right? Now, where do you draw the line? Now, you attend to your basics, whatever that has to be done, you do it in day-to-day life, be it at home or in office. Now, mind, you said, is on a survival mode, and then the mind creates fear, mind creates anger, mind creates, maybe all that. How should one draw the line between, okay, I will listen to my mind only up to this point, but not beyond? How do you reconcile that?
Yeah. So that's like Yeah, that's tricky, Dr. Vipula. That's why you need to become aware, and then, like, for example, like, so, like, you do something, like, let's say you have a like, you need to plan for your like, you're going on a trip, like, let's say you're going in a tour to Japan or somewhere like that, and then you take, like, let's say you take 1 hour and you plan that, and then your mind start creating, like, crazy worst case scenario after worst case scenario after worst case scenario. So if you, like, at that time, once you're done with the like done with that planning, do not take those worst case scenarios so seriously. Those are just monsters in your mind, which just
Yeah.
scares you. And it will create stories as, like, okay, like, or like, now let's say that you planned for the tour, and then, like, you couldn't, like you didn't have like, you didn't have one place to book, and you couldn't really book it, but then your mind starts creating an image of you are sleeping on the street and there's no one or something like that. Then you just get
For
so
sure, for
scared,
sure,
and then,
for
like, you
sure.
get so anxious, and the very thing which is supposed to make you so happy and enjoyable because you're going on a tour, but
Yeah.
now you are anxious and so stressed out. Do you understand what I'm saying?
And
So
most of the time, people, they are worried about their jobs and losing their jobs, and then and
exactly,
yeah,
and then
there is a possibility that you can lose your job, but then the thinking goes beyond. You are going and begging on street, and then
on
you
street
are
and
losing
no
your thing,
food, and
and
then
yeah, no food,
exactly
and you
these.
have to sell your everything, that your vehicle and everything, and suddenly and your relations start laughing at you, and then there's no
So
entry.
many monsters appear, and then you take it so serious, and then you suffer out of nowhere, like, this is it. What is being anxious is nothing but you get scared for this mind created monsters. And one monster appears, another monster appears, another monster appears, and then you just take it so seriously, and then you suffer and you create a whole mess right this moment.
Yeah, definitely. Now
Yeah.
that explains. Okay, you are taking the mind so seriously, and you accept everything that mind says beyond what you can comprehend. Okay, that's one good point, and it will be useful to our audience. Be careful. That's what she says. The mind, you know exactly where to draw your line with awareness, with consciousness, with awareness. And then how do you see the social differences now, particularly in countries like Sri Lanka, perhaps this part of the world? The people are striving to get to somewhere, so that you think that is where happiness is. Basically, how the parents are pushing their kids to become professionally qualified, and then from there they will go and acquire certain things, and from there onward they will get married, they will have kids. So parents are looking forward to them. Now there is some truth in it, because if they work hard, yes, they can get their qualifications, they can be recognized in the business world. Now there could be suffering when you go to study, when you go to like memorize things, and when you are doing your degree, there could be suffering throughout. Now you cannot at that time say, look, this is again the work of the mind, and therefore I'll do what I can. Now that could be a bit of a paradox. How would you advise?
Can you, like, summarize the
No,
question, Dr.
yeah,
Yeah.
someone who has to strive to get
Yes.
somewhere. Let's say an engineer, to be you have an ambition to become an engineer, so you need to pass certain examination, so you need
Yeah.
to work hard towards that. That may well be suffering as well. It's not easy. You have to work hard. um,
Yes, Dr. Vipula, but then again, like the suffering comes in if you're like really forcing yourself to do something that you are not even interested in.
Ah,
And
okay.
that's what I can see, like when I had the opportunity, I mean, I feel so blessed. Like when I went to the university, normally like people can do like whatever their Z score comes in, for me, I had a really good, like 2 point above Z score. So because of that, I had the choice of choosing what I really wanted to do. And I chose entrepreneurship, which I really love doing. And then, but that's not the case with everyone. If you are choosing what you truly passionate about, what you truly desire, like, for example, the work that I do, I never feel like, because I truly enjoy what I do. Even if I got to have a session at 11 p.m., I do it with so much happiness. If I need to, sometimes there were times where I was like replying to my clients at 1 a.m. in the night because I never felt like it's work. So this is the thing, like if you are trying to force yourself, like for example, I've noticed this, like sometimes like people are so pressured by their parents to do something that they are not really passionate about, then definitely it would create so much suffering and like yeah, yeah, especially like countries like here, like if you see like doctor, lawyer, accountant, all these are very much, recognized and all that, then you push yourself to do that something you're not even passionate about, which completely
Mm,
doesn't make sense. For example, if you take India, like everyone is engineer, they
mm,
are not even be like interested
mm,
in that. Of course, when you're forcing yourself
mm.
for something that you're not even love to do, like obviously there'll be a lot of suffering. That's why I always share, like, follow your heart, even if it's more dangerous thing to do, because people will look down on you and then think, and then you're so weird that you're just doing something completely opposite to what the herd is doing, the crowd is doing, the mainstream. Yeah.
Right, there is one thing now. If you take two families who have been associating each other very intimately, one family is in terms of material gains, they are doing well. They are, material wealth, so to say. So their lives are comfortable. They don't have to go and stay in the bus stand for probably, you know, 1 hour to catch the bus. They have their vehicles and maybe 2 or 3 vehicles. And life is comfortable, okay, because of certain achievement. And the other family have not had that luxury, so they go through certain hardships. And one might look at these two scenarios and will say, well, you see, now see, those people went towards their targets. Even if those targets were not that they were passionate about, while the other family, they were lethargic and they were not, looking at. And as a result, now this is where they are, and now there is kind of, unhappiness. So the happiness and unhappiness. One family, because of the material wealth, material gains, they believe they are happy, and the others who don't have those will not be happy. Now, this is a very crude way of saying it, but I'm just saying it because it's there in our society, at least. Uh, Now, as a counselor, someone from this poor family comes to you and said, maybe we tried hard, but it didn't work for us. Not that we were not efficient or hardworking, but we did work. But that family is simply lucky. And why is it happening to us? Now, these are very basic things with which a lot of families are suffering. What is your kind of direct response to that?
Yeah, to be very honest, Dr. Vipula, like material success, if someone thinks material success can bring happiness, that's that's a joke, because they're like, I mean, I am coming from a really good material success was there, like in my family in the beginning, so because of that, like I had everything and all that, but because of that, I saw everything. But at the same time, I saw for a fact that sometimes when we go on a trip and we stay in a 5-star hotel, but I cannot see my dad is happy, and because I could see that these whole, like, even though so-called like material success was there, like, then why wasn't he happy? And at the same one time, like I had the same, I'm a curious person. Sometimes I go and ask questions from people, I remember some years back, there was this one man, like a big shot, like in a company. And then like he goes from country to country and he has such like earns from dollars and like very rich. And then I asked like one time, like, wow, like you must be very happy, aren't you? Like, because you have everything. Like, so for me, like, I just asked that question, like so many years back. And he said, are you crazy? I'm miserable. Like those things like really hit me at those times. And I really glad that I asked it directly, even though no one would like dare to go and ask from someone like that.
Mhm.
But I just did because I was also curious, just like other people, even though I
Mm,
had the material success. But you don't know about it because you're always curious about the next level, the next level, next
mm,
level. But once you have it all, you're just like the person who has the, like, let's say 10 million is looking to become the billionaire. The billionaire is
mm,
waiting until to become a trillionaire. And there was this one story I was like listening to someone from Japan, and he was talking about this, and then like he was curious about these rich people, and then he was asked like, so you have this all this material success, all this money, and like you have a yacht and everything and all that, and then you must be very happy, aren't you? Like this person was interviewing these rich people, and then he was like, no, like I don't have a private jet still.
So, so that's what. So until then, you are striving and striving, and probably you have missed
This
out a lot.
never ends, Dr. Vipula. This never ends. It just
Mm.
goes on.
I
you
think
know
I think I rephrased that question. I said this rich family, poor family. I think the suffering that the poor family is going through, not necessarily because they are poor, it's because they are looking at the other family.
And the comparison, exactly. Yeah,
Mm.
yes. Yeah.
Well,
But to be very honest, this comparison is very dangerous. Why I'm telling this is like if you're looking at the, especially the social media, like 90, you're seeing only 1 or 2% of their reality, I'm telling you.
oh yeah, for sure.
99, like 98% is not their reality, I'm telling you. I will tell an example and tell you this, which has happened in my own experience. And then one of the people just reached out to me in Instagram, and then I was talking with her, and then she was telling about, and then she booked a session with me, and somehow she didn't appear on the day. And I found really like curious, and I asked her what happened. And she had a panic attack and she was hospitalized. And that was the reason. And out of the curiosity, I just somehow like just because I had some time, because she shared the reason she didn't come for the session because she was hospitalized. And I just went into her profile, and then I just scroll through, and then there was this one thing came up which is saying like, oh, I'm having the best life ever. And then she was like doing something, and then you would have you cannot even imagine she's a girl who would get panic attack and an anxiousness. Like it wouldn't even be, it's like, I feel like completely opposite, extremes, like, which is, this is her reality. But what you go into the Instagram and see is some complete like a different reality, you know. So please, like, if you're comparing yourself with, especially mostly that happens through social media, you won't go to places to see what's really going on with these people. So do not compare your life with anyone else, because your life is very unique. And how can you compare like apple to pineapple, you know, something like that. Your life is very unique
Absolutely.
to you. Yeah.
There are two areas that I want to really talk about this, because these are very, very real stuff. The egoic notions, you know, the ego-based lifestyles. And this ego that we are talking about, I'm not referring to, you know, someone wants to, you know, a magistrate who is practicing will want to be a Supreme Court judge, and then maybe the Chief Justice thereafter, and you know, a medical doctor eventually becoming a specialist, and you know, thereafter. Not that, because those are, let's say, you know, that's your career path or something. But this ego, how it's difficult to say, but this ego in which what the inferiority complex that the ego creates, and a lot of people don't know this. And it's only when you are able to look at yourself and look at your mind, you will probably realize how much you're suffering because of one's own ego. And I can tell you one example. I'm sure you would have come across many such people. When you talk to someone uh, whom you have met after many years, for example, that person will ensure that he will tell you all the achievements, and his achievements, and his wife's achievements, and the achievements of their children, and blah, blah, blah. By all means, we would love to hear them, you know. And I personally, I sincerely wish that our relatives, our friends, you know, they do well in life, so that we will also benefit, you know, one way or another. There have been occasions where our people have done well, and we have also benefited as a result. But this ego that I'm referring to, I'm not saying that, you know, their lives may have had a lot of bad things also, which they don't want to, I mean, we don't want to hear them. But the fact that the emphasis, this excessive expression, you know, okay, my son is doing very well there, you know, how he is, and my daughter is doing very well. It's okay, we love to hear that. But what I'm saying is this overemphasis. There is so much of suffering, you know, the person, from the time the person whom you meet, his target for that little conversation is to ensure that he will load me or any other person with all the good things that he has told the other person. Isn't that suffering? You know, I don't think you can get any happiness out of that, can you?
Exactly, Dr. Vipula. If someone is trying to overemphasize it, there's something off there. You know, there's something off there, because if you're truly happy about that success, you don't need to go on telling about it to everyone.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you, because I have someone who has enjoyed like so much. Even when I went to Singapore, like in the airport, before I go to before I come to Sri Lanka, there was a complete like a sort of a theme park, like an area where I not a theme park, a sort of adventure zone. And then I went there and I did so many things, you know. But I didn't want to put it on social media or anything like that, because I was so content and happy. And I don't even get the urge to put it on social media or in any other way, even to tell anyone, because that contentment is there. I never get that urge to like full like entertain my mind projections, because I can see the whole the madness of entertaining your whole mind projections. The reason why they are trying to do is because because there's something lacking there. There's something they are not truly happy about it. There's something which is they are not content about. If they are truly content, they don't even need to share about it. To be very honest, Dr. Vipula, when I went through the awakening, I didn't even want to tell anyone about it. Anyone, because that even for my own, like even to talk with a spiritual teacher, I didn't get that urge to even talk, because you can see the whole futility even to talk to another teacher, because you can see your own mind projection. This is coming again out of like some sort of, just like you said, like let's say, and I have seen people who are truly, this also I have noticed that people who are not so rich in their life, they try to get the BMW and get the Benz and then show off, But the person who is like really rich, like someone, and he's wearing a T-shirt and then just maybe having some sort of a Prius or something, which is a comfortable vehicle, because he doesn't get that urge to show that I'm a rich person, because he is rich. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and so this is the thing, like if someone is showing like in an excessive way, there's something really off there, which is like truly not there, that they are trying to show. If they are truly content, they wouldn't even get the urge to talk about it.
I have, with my age, you can imagine how much of people I have met and what kind of difference that I have seen. And I myself would have gone through this kind of spells, when we were young and when we had ambitions and how much we wanted to show the others. We may have gone through all that, but this realization that this futility of some of these things, there are some gatherings I hardly attend. It's not, if I can learn something, the very fact that I am having these sessions with you, right? It's useful to me. Basically, uh, there's some meaningful something to you, and not to sort of listen to all these, like doing well stuff, doing well, I'm doing very well, doing very well, doing it. And sometimes you get tired, because as you rightly said, there's something wrong. You have anything else to talk about. So I see underneath there's so much of suffering. I have to let these people know, what I have gained. I mean, in a
What they are
business.
not recognizing is that they are
uh,
entertaining their own mind
yeah, yeah.
projections, because
Okay.
that's the ignorance. If they can see that they are entertaining their own shadows, that immediately falls away. That
Mhm.
immediately falls away.
So this mind game needs to be watched and seen.
Exactly, because it's very tricky, Dr. Vipul. The mind is like a proper game player. It just plays this game very well. You get hooked with again and again and again. I have seen some of the people in their entire life, what they do is like their entire life is around showing other people a good image. And then trying to do that, their entire life becomes a lie. And then they live the whole entire life with that lie, and then they die without even living their true life, just trying to show some image and suffering so many ways in order to make it happen, like especially the countries like, if you take Sri Lanka, like if you see how much of amount of money they put on wedding, and sometimes like I've heard that some people don't even like skipping meals and even saving money in order to like do this wedding, which is utter insanity, like I mean, it's fine if you have money, but
Mm.
like to deprive of eating, even like just to save
Mm.
money in order for just for a few hours, like it's again entertaining your own mind projections. Once you see the whole thing, see through it, this whole game just disappear. The futility can like it just disappears.
Yeah, now, also, I would like to I'm taking you to a different sphere of this, because some of our interviews we touched on deep spiritual aspects of life, where we discussed who we are, what we are, and how to view these things, and how to alleviate suffering. In the light of that, when we enter the spiritual field now, especially a person like you who have had awakened experiences, there we sometimes differ. You see, all what we discuss in a mundane life may not necessarily be true when you discuss spirituality. For example, this notion of free will and choice. Now, most of these spiritually awakened people, when they describe this no self theory, they also use this example that there is no free will and choice either, because this is just oneness. Now, this is just one happening. Everything is you. So therefore, what is happening anyway. So this is what is. Now, that kind of a discussion, or a discussion that revolves around, completely taking you out of the mundane, then this finding happiness becomes a very mundane, localized subject. I don't know if I raised that question well. Now, you discuss in counseling terms, how to find happiness, which you may do very effectively. But when you enter the spiritual field, well, if you are sad, you are sad. If you are tensed, you are tensed. Now, that's how the spiritual speakers discuss. How do you balance these two?
Yeah, can you describe the question, Dr. Vipula?
Yes, I tried hard, but
Yeah.
I don't think. Now, in
It's,
mundane,
yeah.
in we call mundane life, I tell someone, hey, just forget about this. Don't forget about this, what happened, and then completely forget about it. But
Yeah.
then the guy cannot forget about it. He lives with it. Now,
Yes.
in the spiritual world, they will describe it as what is. That is what is. So that's what is happening.
Yeah.
You see, so now these two, now here you are genuinely telling someone you do this. So from the spiritual point of view, my telling someone just forget about it and that person not forgetting is what is. You see?
Yeah.
There's a paradox between these two.
Yeah, honestly, there's always paradox, Dr. Vipula, even the fact that like this person is suffering, and then sometimes there's ways that it's again like a duality, sometimes it depends on the what is the situation. At points he could see that this is what it is and he could accept. At the same time, there could be places where he could not take it as it is. He needs something more, something extra. And that's where they I mostly do the spiritual healing work. Is sometimes, even though some of the things you cannot let go just like that. For example, let's say you have such a some kind of a grudge towards some one person, like some person you have such a crazy anger. Sometimes it's no easy. Oh yeah, forget about it. Yeah, it's just that you cannot do it. Sometimes you got to do some kind of an action or an exercise or see it in a different way, and you need to do some sort of an exercise in order to see it. And so that's again a duality, it depends on the person to person and the situation to situation as what they are going through. You cannot give share, like, this is how it is. Like, that's what most of the people, what happens is they just, when we say like something, they get hooked on, because the mind is like to get into hook with one extreme always. Oh yeah, this is how it is. Let me go with this. Like, okay, always I will accept what it is. Okay, I'll go in that path. Or like, I don't, like, let me, okay, always I need to take some action in order to to uh, find the relief, So this is just, like, but
I don't think,
yeah,
yes, you are right. We cannot reconcile these two, because even
no,
when you advise someone, okay, do
yeah,
these one or two exercises, and then even that can be called what is.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that is also
yes,
what is, So
yeah,
therefore,
yeah, yeah.
um, we can't sort of detach these two, you see.
You
Uh,
cannot. It comes together. This duality comes together, and that's why it's so beautiful. It's like a dance, just this comes and this comes, and it's all together, and that's why that's the beauty is there. Like, but our mind wants to, like, say, okay, this is it, that's it, done, fixed, because it likes to get hooked onto one extreme, because that's what the mind does. It's always, if I say something about it, this is how it is. It's all about making so much effort in order to find the true nature. Okay, let's put so much effort. Or I say, no, this is not like, that's not how it works. Okay, it's just so effortless. Let me just not do anything, so I will realize. Like, so, the mind just like to get into hooked with these extremes, and that's what it does. Yeah.
right. So we are like coming to the last few minutes, but now when you say happiness, as you said at the beginning, watching your mind, watching yourself, and then seeking something which you are not desirous of, something you don't want. So if you try to achieve that, it will create a lot of suffering. And again, what is happiness? Sometimes what you think will bring me happiness, or what I think will bring me happiness, may not be true, because it is a completely mind fabrication, because you won't be
Yes.
happy even after getting it.
It's relative, yeah. It's relative. And you would be happy with something, and then another person would not be happy with it, you know. And even that is very fleeting. It just it just goes right out. And at the same time, I want to share with you, Dr. Vipula, like this, finding happiness and finding true nature is two different things, by the way. Like, yes, it's lasting happiness, finding true nature, but then again, like, some people have the idea, it's about feeling good. Let me tell you, that's not about feeling good at
Mm,
all.
mm,
You would feel extremely, like, sometimes when I'm walking on this path, like, there were times I was crying, and I was like in my, like, knee on my knees. Like, if you're thinking about, this is where you're trying to find the true nature and the truth, and sometimes it will come in fierce ways, not in easy ways.
yeah.
So that, like,
Mm,
so there's this, you need to see that as well, very, very clearly, because otherwise people have another notion of, it's about feeling good all the time. I like that, just
mhm.
like the god, like, just playing the guitar on the sky, and yeah, on that, yeah.
Yeah, when you divide, finding happiness and finding the true nature are two different things. Um, it will take the people out of the fallacy, because otherwise people think, you know, I will be happy if I have this, and then that will be the seeing of true nature
Next
also.
carrot, next carrot. Just
Exactly.
like, yeah, okay, when you get the degree, you will be happy at the next carrot, and you will get married, and then you will be happy. Yeah, it will be the next carrot. Just the object has changed, the same run object just changed. Yeah.
And probably we find, uh, especially countries like Scandinavia, um, people have wealth, and they have everything they want basically, and also their lives are fairly secured. In the sense, if you lose your job, the government will come and help you, until you find another job or something.
Yeah.
And something I notice in the lifestyles of those people is simplicity. But that simplicity, I'm not suggesting that it should be a cardinal rule. That if you are simple, you will be happy. I'm not referring to that. But
Yeah.
there is a general reflection of simplicity, maybe, just maybe, because there is a recognition that, when you go, natural recognition, I mean, not because of religions or philosophies, that if you go after this, you have a very small lifespan, and then you will not end up with happiness. So, I have seen most of the people, they are living very much in the now, what they do, and and I see there is some kind of a recognition to what you are saying here
Yeah,
in the
like,
lifestyle.
yes,
Because
doctor, like, yeah, I also notice one thing, that they are more interested in finding true nature than people who like also live in, because we mostly sometimes like let's say like like sometimes third world countries, we are mostly like in a sort of it happens in the most survival mode. We go like we need to take care of our survival needs sometimes, like
yeah,
there are times like that. And but like for them, they have that all the survival needs are basically taken care of, that like which gives them luxury to go and find their true nature. I've seen that that's there like the more and like they are more like more searching for the truth than people who are in mostly but that's again the one more thing, it depends on person to person, because I've seen like people who are coming, like I have clients from Europe, and then like even they are like still the same cycle is there, just like that.
mhm.
But like that simplicity, yes, there's a more simplicity in compared to here, like things are more simple, and also even their minds are very simple, like they are not very rigid with their ideologies, and they just whenever they see something which is working, they are ready to let go of that thing and then embrace something else. Yeah.
All right. So now, before we conclude, there is the aspect of watching your mind, because the mind doesn't tell you the truth always. So mind can make your life miserable. That's one thing. Then also follow your heart, so that um, you do what your heart loves to do. Okay, and that's the one. And then we discuss the egoic factors,
Yeah.
and which will reflect that you are not happy, because of this something that you want the society to know. So we can go on, but basically, if you are to summarize this, how to find happiness, if you can just within a few minutes can say, so that they will take a cue, our audience will take a cue and at least attempt one thing, not perhaps so many things, and let's give that opportunity to them. If you can just conclude that with this, um, I don't want to use the word advice, but a clue, so that uh, they will at least remember in their search for happiness.
So something that I would like to share is, Dr. Vipula, like your mind will always chatter so much, if you can watch it, and at the same time, if you can practice to live in the moment. Like when I say live in the moment, yeah, Dilmi, I have heard like million times, live in the moment, live in the moment. That's what all the spiritual teachers say, but how to do it? That's the
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
So one pointer that I can give you is like connect with your senses more. Senses, that means like when you feel more, see more, hear more, and like taste more, like just connect with your senses. When you are connected to your senses, like this mind chatter just silence itself. It would be there in the background, yet like you would be more connected to your senses. That's like you will just disconnect it from that mind chatter and you will immediately come into the present moment. Like let's say when you're just like, let's say right at this moment, if you listen to the silence, if you listen to the silence around you, you're connected. You are in this moment. So try to just connect with your senses more and more. And that will like train you to silence and be in that moment. When even like let's say you go and like look at a sunset, just look at it. Don't even say beautiful, just watch it. Then again the beautiful, the word comes in between the two. Just see more. That's why I said see more. And here, like when you go look at like a stream or a river, like listen to even the sounds and see the colors, like just get connected with these senses. That the mind chatter would silence itself. And do like if you don't take it so seriously, you would be so much better off. Trust me, you would be happy. You would be a happier person. Mind is the one which makes you miserable. You take your mind serious. You take your mind's monsters serious. You don't recognize those are monsters. Just you imagine monsters.
Yeah, I mean, I like that, don't take your mind seriously, because the mind, you're right. Most of the bad things we thought would happen to us, 99% of all the bad things we thought would happen to us have not happened actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh, but of course there could be other way around, certain unexpected, even that is unforeseen.
Yeah.
It can happen. But anyway, Dilmi, this is useful. We probably cannot give solutions 100%, but at least we are showing our audience some kind of a path with which this finding happiness is what all the humans, all the beings are looking for. So any word that is arising to serve that purpose is very, very useful in the present day society. So thank you very much, Dilmi. Appreciate another episode. We will continue to have these sessions on various topics, from mundane topics to supramundane to spirituality. We'll discuss all that, and there will be someone out there who will benefit from our conversation. So thank you very much, Dilmi.
Thank you, Doctor.